Hello everybody. Today we are looking at frequency distributions with quantitative data. Again, quantitative data is data when we are dealing with numerical values. So the data that we're looking at today is from the handout Frequency Distribution and Histogram Review. And basically this was organize the data into a frequency distribution with 4 classes and produce a histogram. The following data represents the time it took 18 students to take an exam in minutes. Okay, so when we're looking at these numbers, just to give it some context, okay, it's the number of minutes it took someone to take an exam. So again, when we look at that data, what we're looking for, okay, to figure out what our 4 classes are going to be, is we want to find the range. Okay, and again, to find the range of that data, we're going to look for the largest number in this data set, and we are going to look for the smallest number in the data set. Okay, the largest number in the data set is 58, and the smallest number in the data set is 11. So the range of my data set is 47. And again, I'm going to divide that by the number of classes. And when I divide that by the number of classes, I'm going to come out with a decimal. Whenever we come out with a decimal, we round up, and that represents our class width. So what we're saying is that each one of these classes is going to have a width of 12. So if I start with that smallest number, okay, and I say 11 plus 12 minus 1, 11 plus 12 minus 1 is going to be 22. And again, the reason why we subtract 1 away is because we're counting 11. Okay? So if you sat there and you count on your fingers 11 to 22, that's 12 values. Okay? Since I ended with 22, 23 plus 12 minus 1 is going to be 34. Ended with 34, I'm going to do 35. 35 plus 12 minus 1 is 46. And then we start with 47. 47 plus 12 minus 1 is 58. And as you can see, my data is going to fit, my classes are going to fit all of my data. Now, once you have your classes, and again, when I look at these, they all have a uniform width. They're all the same. There's no gaps in my numbers. I haven't repeated anything. That's exactly what we want to have. Now, when I go through my data, I'm looking for what numbers are between 11 and 22. So there's one number there. Okay, nothing there. Again, I'm looking for between 11 and 22. There's one there. So I have a total of 2 values. Okay, so my frequency is 2. Okay. And again, when we write a boundary, when we do a histogram, we have to subtract the half, we have to add a half. So if I subtract the half from 11, it's 10.5. If I add a half, it is 22.5. My next group, my boundary would be 22.5 to 34.5. And what we notice here is that these are going to connect. So when we go down here and we make our histogram, my first histogram, my first bar is going to be 10.5 to 22.5. And again, that frequency was 2. My next bar is going to be 22.5 to 34.5. And if I look at, for all the values in my data set that are between 23 and 34, okay, again, if I go through here and I count 23 to 34, 23 to 34, here's 1 value, 2 values, 3 values, 4 values, 23 to 34, 5 values, and that's everything, okay? So I have a frequency there of 5. Okay. Next one, 34.5 to 46.5. Again, if I go through here and I count all of them, there's going to be 7. And then my last bar in my histogram is going to be 46.5 to 58.5. And there were exactly 4 values left there. Again, the frequency is going to add up to the total number of values that we had. We had 18. Okay? Again, a relative frequency is just telling us in reference to the total, okay, what percentage each one of these is of the total. Okay, if we were going to do a pie chart. Okay. And again, I could leave this in decimal form, fraction form, or percent form. But again, with your histogram, when you draw your histogram, your frequency, how many times it happens, is on the y-axis. The x-axis, again, what do these numbers represent? Number of minutes to take a test. Okay, so now when I'm looking at this data as a teacher, I could say for the future, well, again, pretty high skewed over here, 574, okay? I know that I'm gonna have to allot somewhere between 20 minutes to an hour for this test. And definitely more on this end. If I said you only have 30 minutes to take this test, that wouldn't be good because not many people would be finishing it, okay? It's really in that high zone of 34 to 46. So again, the whole reason we organize this data is so that we can put it into a form where we can look at it in a picture like a histogram and then try to make some sense out of it and do some predictions for the future. Make it more accurate, make it better, okay? So hopefully that gives you a little better idea of organizing with a frequency distribution, okay, organizing your data. All right, have a good day.